Hello, this is Mark. I'm replaying 1971 Detroit Tigers using Sports Illustrated Baseball board game. Actually, using a program I wrote that plays Sports Illustrated board game, like one I've seen online, but not exactly the same as the one I've seen online because I wrote mine myself and I can write it to do whatever I want it to do. So what I can do is play an entire season of one team and let the computer manage all the other teams that play my team and play all the other games um, that don't involve my team. So let's see where the Tigers are supposed to be. We are at the midpoint. We are at game 82. So where are the Tigers supposed to be in game 82? We're supposed to be playing the Yankees, and we won that game 12-7 in 1971. We were supposed to be 43 wins and 38 losses coming into this game, and this game was Lolich was the starting pitcher, and I assume Stan Bonson was the starting pitcher for the Yankees and the loser. So let's see where we actually are in my game. I'll look at standings. We're supposed to be 43 and 38. The Tigers are 49 and 32. So they are 6 games better than what they were in 1971. If you look at the Orioles, they are 10 games better. They were supposed to be 51 and 30 at this point. So they're doing much better in the game than they did in real life. And down at the bottom, I don't know what the records were supposed to be, but Oakland did win the division and Minnesota did come in second. So that sort of looks right. So let us go ahead and play that game number 82 for the Tigers. So I say yes to that. Here's game 82. It's the Yankees at the Tigers. Tigers had Billy Martin as their manager in 1971. Here are my starting pitchers for the game. Bonson against Lolich. Look at Lolich, 16 and 5. So he is outperforming his performance of 1971 where he went 25 and something, 25 and 14 or something or other. So he's a little ahead of that because half of 25 is less than 16, and this is half the season point. So here's the starting lineup of that day for the Yankees. Here's the starting lineup that Billy Martin had for the Tigers in that game. Here are the total defensive ratings. Sports Illustrated kind of uses a simple defense system. There's no range checking or error checking by position, by where the ball was hit. It's just add up all the defensive ratings of one team and then look it up in the table and find out what dice roll of the pitchers would be an automatic out based on outstanding defensive play. And for the Tigers, total 19 gives you a defensive out of 13. The Yankees' defensive out is a dice roll of 11. I will say yes. Let's see the dice rolls. So here we go. Tiger home game, Yankees at Tigers. Leadoff is Horace Clarke for the Yankees. We start rolling the dice. The top colorful line is the pitcher in the game, and the second colorful line is the batter against that pitcher's left-handedness or right-handedness. So in this case, it's Horace Clarke against the lefty. So I roll the dice for 21, and that turns out to be a Mickey Lolich strikeout. Horace doesn't get to roll the dice because Mickey rolled a 21, as you can see with the white box highlighted. A 21 is a blue box for Mickey Lolich, and blue means strikeout in Sports Illustrated Baseball. Yellow means walk or wild pitch, something like that, or hit by pitch. Greens are hits and reds are outs. Pretty simple. So up comes Thurman Munson, the catcher, the second batter. You can see the statistics by each batter are the statistics so far in this replay season, not his real life statistics. So far Thurman Munson's hitting 220 in this season. A 31 from Mickey Lolich means Thurman gets to roll the dice. He rolls a 23, gets a single. So Thurman goes on first base. He's a one-runner. You can be 0 through 5 in Sports Illustrated Baseball. 0, of course, being the slowest, 5 being the fastest. Bobby Mercer comes up. Look at Bobby Mercer. 1971, he was a star player. In this replay, halfway through the season, he's hitting 387 with 18 home runs and 65 RBIs. So Lolich throws a 31. And a 15 for Bobby Mercer is a double play. So Bobby Mercer, great hitting Bobby Mercer hits into a double play in the first inning. Here come the Tigers. Leadoff hitter unusually is Dalton Jones. Billy Martin put him in there as the leadoff man for some reason. And he leads off by rolling a 25 and flying out. Rodriguez, the normal Slick fielding third baseman comes up, bats second. A 13 is not a defensive out for the Yankees, so Rodriguez rolls a 35 and gets a ground out. Storm and Norman Cash, 13 home runs so far this year. He had a slow start. The whole Tigers had a slow start. They had a losing record for the first 20 or 25 games, and they have kind of caught on fire and have scored a lot of runs in the last 20 or 30 games. So they've been having good dice rolls. That's my conclusion, because this is all about random dice rolls and consistent performance based on statistics. So Storm and Norm flies out. Top of the order, or top of the second inning for the Yankees. A 12 was that the Tigers' number? I think 13 was the Tigers' number. So Roy White rolls a 17 and he grounds out. Lolich throws a 14. That's not an automatic. A 31 for Felipe Alou. One of the Alou brothers gets a single. Here comes Ron Swoboda, who moved over from the Mets to the Yankees at some point. He was on the 69 Miracle Mets. 14 is a nothing from Lolich, and a 38 for Swoboda is a ground out double play. So that ends the top of the second. Here we go to the bottom of the second. Willie Horton leads up, and he's walked by Stan Bonson. Jimmy Northrup comes up. Jimmy rolls a 28. He pops out. You can see that the numbers are highlighted with the boxes. So 35 for Stan Bonson is up there on the top row, and that's a green box, which means the batter gets to roll. So a 21 for Dick McAuliffe. You can see the 21's right next to the white air box, but it's a red double play, so that ends that inning. Top of the third, Ron Hansen leads off with a single. He rolls a 22 and gets a single. Lolich's 31 allows Michael to roll the dice. He rolls a 25. Gene Michael, the shortstop, grounds out into a force play. Here comes Stan Bonson, the pitcher, and he decides to bunt. See, manager Ralph Houck has decided to bunt, so there's the bunt chart. Top is a 10, bottom is a 39, so we roll the dice. We get a 17. That is a successful bunt for Stan Bonson, the pitcher. So Michael goes down to second. Horace Clarke comes up with 2 outs. 24 is a walk, so Horace Clarke gets a walk. Thurman Munson comes up, and Thurman rolls a 16 and hits a double. So there's a run for the Yankees. They still have second and third with Bobby Mercer up. I'm going to intentionally walk Bobby Mercer because I'm afraid of him. So we put him on first, and here comes Roy White. A 20 from Lolich is a nothing. A 28 for Roy White is a ground out. So works out. 1-0 game. Freehan leads off with a single. Freehan goes down to first. Here's Eddie Brinkman, shortstop. 12 is not an automatic out. A 34 is a ground out. Freehan moves down to second. Lolich up with 1 out. I guess Lolich hit away. If he was on first, I'd probably bunt, but Lolich has got some chances of getting some hits. So we'll let him swing away, and he grounds out. All right, Dalton Jones, 2 outs, runner on second, 14, and a 16 is not going to be a hit to score Freehan. It's a ground out. Top of the fourth, Mickey Lolich out there. Here's our automatic out. 12 is the number for the Tigers based on their total defense. No, it's not a 12. Must have been something else. Must have been 13. 25 is a ground out. Swoboda, there's 23 from Lolich, and a 33 from Swoboda is a strikeout. 24, Lolich walks Hansen, brings up Gene Michael. Gene Michael grounds out to end the top of the fourth. Here we go, bottom of the fourth. We got Aurelio Rodriguez, the number 2 hitter, leads off with a ground out. Norman Storm and Cash. 36 from Bonson is a nothing. A 27 for Cash is a fly out or a pop out. A weak fly out. Nobody advances with just an F. There's a 20 from Bonson, and a 24 for Willie Horton is a ground out. So we're through 4 innings. It's a 1-0 game. Pitcher Stan Bonson leads off with a strikeout with a 36, and that's a strikeout for him. 15 and then a 12 for Horace Clarke is a strikeout. So first 2 batters here in the 5th inning strike out. 30 and a 33 is a flyout for Thurman Munson. So here we go in the bottom of the 5th. Jimmy Northrup, my leadoff hitter. Jim flies out. Dickie Mack, 25 is nothing. The 23 for Dick McAuliffe is a home run. See it highlighted there? 23. That second block are the 20s, 20 through 29. First block are the 10s. Third block are the 30s. All right, 1-1. Dick McAuliffe, solo home run, ties the game, 34. And then a 38 is a flyout for Bill Freehan. Here comes Eddie Brinkman. He's hitting 226 so far this season, 31, and he rolls a 27 and strikes out. So Lolich is up on the hill in the 6th inning. Tie game 1-1. Bobby Mercer leads off with a strikeout. Up second will be Roy White, but he doesn't get to roll the dice because Lolich rolled a 37. That's a strikeout on his line. Here's Felipe Alou. Felipe rolls a 37. He pops out. Bottom of the 6th, Lolich leads off. We don't take Lolich out because Lolich is our best pitcher, and he somehow gets a hit. He leads off with a single. Dalton Jones comes up. Dalton Jones singles, so we got first and second with Aurelio Rodriguez up. Aurelio's got 8 home runs, so he can hit the ball. We'll let him swing away. But he flies out. Norman Cash comes up. Storm and Norm, come on. Something like a 25 is a home run for him. He gets a single in parentheses, which means runners advance 1 base, they can go an extra base on manager's decision. Lolich out there on second base is a 0 runner. I see from my manager's decision chart on the left side that a 0 runner has a 30% chance of being safe. There's 1 out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold Lolich at third. With Willie Horton coming up now with the bases loaded, 1 out. 24. Let's see what Willie can do. Willie, rolls a 32, strikes out. He missed a home run by 1. You can see that on his line. All right, Northrop clutch situation. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 36 from Bonson. Bonson gets out of it. Northrop rolls a 27 and pops out. Here we go. Top of the 7th. Still tied 1-1. Ronnie Swoboda. He leads it off with a base hit. Ron Hansen. There's the Tigers' number. 13. 12 must be for the Yankees. 13 is outstanding defensive play, which is always a ground out. Swoboda gets forced at second. Hansen's at first. Here comes Gene Michael. We walk Gene Michael. I don't know why we would do that. Here comes Stan Bonson. This might be a pinch hitter situation. Let's see what manager Ralph Houck says to do. And he has decided to pinch hit for his pitcher. He will bring off the bench Danny Cater. Danny Cater's hitting 297 this year, so he's a good choice against a lefty especially. Let's see if Lolich can get him out without rolling the dice. There we go. Another outstanding defensive play. The 13 comes up twice this inning. That's a force out. That'll force Michael at second, I do believe, and it does. Hansen goes over to third. 2 down. Clark up. There's the 24. We walk Horace Clark. Here comes Thurman Munson. 36 and luckily a 34 is not a hit for Thurman Munson. It's a ground out. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 7th. You didn't see that message, but that said that they pinch hit for the pitcher. So Stan Bonson is out. Ralph Houck decides to come in with Jim Harden, the right-hander. Dick McAuliffe will lead off in the bottom of the 7th against this new right-hander. He rolls a 26 and he grounds out. If you look at Harden's line up there, he's not too great of a pitcher. He's got walks, see the yellow walks, and he's got 2 1+s. So he gives up singles. He does not ever get any automatic outs like some of the pitchers. But some pitchers are good and some pitchers are not so good. Just like real life, 34 is a nothing pitch from Harden, and a 25 is a single for Freehan. So we got a runner on first with 1 out. 25 is nothing. There's a ground out. So Freehan goes down to second because that had an asterisk. Okay, here comes Mickey Lolich. We don't take Mickey out. He's by far the best pitcher on this team. Mickey strikes out, but it's a 1-1 game, so he's still pitching against Bobby Mercer at 30. Bobby pops out with his 35. Roy White comes up. Roy White also pops out with a 34. Here comes Felipe Alou. Felipe grounds out, so Mickey Lolich gets a 1-2-3. Here's bottom of the 8th, 1-1. Dalton Jones. See what Dalton can do. Dalton rolls a 32, and he's out. Here's Rodriguez, number 2 hitter, 33. Rodriguez rolls a 14. Those low numbers usually give hits. See how the left part of that line is all green. The low numbers come up more infrequent than the high numbers. So 10's much more infrequent than 30's. But Rodriguez is on first base with one out. Here's Norman Cash, 25. Let's see what Norman can do. Norman rounds into a force out. So there's Norman at first, and Willie Horton is up. There's a nothing pitch from Harden. Horton rolls a double. All right, Horton rolls a 21. A double, just a 2, means 2 bases only, so Cash is not going to get the score. Northrup comes up. All right, Jim. Jim Northrup. Look at that. Look at what happened. Since Harden is not a great pitcher, he rolled a 24, and he gives up a single without Northrup even swinging, and that gives up 2 runs. So the Tigers have scored twice in the 8th inning, and it's now a 3-1 game. Dick McAuliffe. That's enough for Jim Harden. Relievers come out after a certain number of hits and outs. That's how the computer manager works. So Harden comes out, and he's replaced by Roger Hambrook. Yeah, Hambrook is a little bit better. He's only got 1 plus. So let's see. Funny thing, he's got 1 plus. It's on 37. He rolls 37, gives McAuliffe a single. Here comes Bill Freehan. A 19 is nothing from Hambrook. A 35 is a pop-out. So that ends the Tiger inning, but the Tigers do score 2 runs and take the lead. Let's see if Mickey Lolich can close it out for his 17th victory. He walks the leadoff batter. Throws an X. He's a wild pitch. Swoboda goes down to second. Ron Hansen comes up. 24 is a walk, so Lolich is getting a little wild, even though it doesn't make any sense because there's no fatigue in Sports Illustrated Baseball. But what the heck? I will bring in my reliever. My ace reliever is Freddie Sherman, so I'm going to bring him in. He's got a couple outs. Red boxes on his line. Let's see if we can get Gene Michael out. He can. He rolls a 23, gets Gene Michael to pop out. That's 1 out. Pitcher comes up. They'll be pinch hitting for him, and that's what Ralph Houck decides to do. He makes the announcement, and the pinch hitter is Johnny Ellis. Right-handed pitcher, power hitter Johnny Ellis, but he's got no home runs. He's at 189. So Fred Sherman rolls a 33 against him, and he rolls a 23, which is a single in parentheses, and they load him up. Horace Clarke comes up. There's a 34 from Sherman. Horace Clarke rolls a 25, and Freddie Sherman gets Horace Clarke to ground into a double play to end the game. So that game 82, the Tigers won 3-1. You can see the winning pitcher, losing pitcher, and Fred Sherman got the save there. Harden lost the game in relief. Here's the line score. Munson had 2 hits. That was about it for the Yankees. Here are the Tigers. Jimmy Northrup had that 2-run single. McAuliffe had the home run. Those 3 runs. That's all they needed. Behind the pitching of Mickey Lolich and Fred Sherman. There's the Yankees pitchers. And there's my Tigers. Lolich gets the win. Sherman gets a save. Now what happens with my game is it goes on and it plays all the games that happened after the one I just played that don't involve the Tigers until we get to the next Tiger game. So you can see here, Milwaukee beat Kansas City. It even shows the winning pitcher and the losing pitcher. Looks like Bergmeyer came in relief for the Brewers. There's the Angels beating the Twins. Messersmith got a win. There's the Orioles, another Orioles win. They are amazing in this replay. Pat Dobson gets a win. We'll go take a look at their stats so far, halfway through. There's the Oakland A's. Blue Moon Odom got a win over Tommy John. Boston beats Cleveland. Boston beats Cleveland again. Must have been a double header. And we're up to the next Tiger games. I will say no to that. Let's look at the standings, and here we go. Tigers are 50-32. Pretty good record, but 12 games back. Nobody's going to beat the 1971 Baltimore Orioles, except, of course, in the World Series, the 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates beat them in a 7-game series. So let's look at some of the statistics. We'll look at the Tigers hitting first. See how they're doing. There we go. All right, we got some home runs there. Willie Horton's got 20 home runs halfway through the season. Bill Freehan's hitting 321. Stanley hitting 311. So some Pretty pretty good batting. Team average is 259. Let's look at the Tigers pitching. There we go. There's Mickey Lolich. Started 24 games and completed 16. He's 17-5 so far with a 2.27 ERA. There's Fred Sherman down there with 12 saves. He's my primary reliever. Joe Coleman having a good year, 11-3. Tigers 50-32. Pretty damn respectable. Let's look at the pitching of the Baltimore Orioles, who then had four 20-game winners in 1971. Let's see if they're going to be able to repeat that in the replay. Oh, wow. They certainly might be able to repeat that. Look at that. They're like 10 games better than what they should be. And look at those starting pitchers. 15 wins Cuellar, 13 for Palmer and McNally, and 10 for Dobson. Pretty amazing. The starting pitchers are very likely to get 20 games each. Shall we look at the league leaders? Let's do that. League leaders in batting. Batting average, let's say you got to have 250 at-bats. We're about halfway through. So there are our leaders so far. 1971 replay. The red one is the person who actually led in 1971. So Oliva won the batting crown in 71. Bill Melton had most home runs, and he has most home runs here. Killebrew had most RBIs. He's down number 13 on the list. Most hits was Cesar Tovar. There we go, leader in doubles. Leader in triples, Freddie Patek has the most triples in actual and the most triples so far this replay. Amos Otis with stolen bases. Donnie Buford had the most runs scored, and he has the most runs scored here so far. And here's the slugging percentage. It was Tony Oliva. But Bobby Mercer's beating him out so far. And look, Bill Freehan up there, 561, and Willie Horton. Pretty nice. Let's look at the pitching. League leaders in pitching. Earned run average, let's say 100 innings. Get rid of those pesky relievers. There we go. Vita Blue, 1.05. Vita Blue was the MVP and the Cy Young Award winner. 3 pitchers under 2. Hedlund, Kansas City. I think he only had one good year, and this was it. Wilbur Wood, knuckleballer Wilbur Wood is up there. All right, innings pitched. Mickey Lolich, no surprise there. Strikeouts, Vita Blue's ahead of Mickey Lolich by 1. Wins, Mickey Lolich. Losses, Denny McLain lost the most games, and he's losing quite a few here. His teammate Jim Schellenbach is 1 loss ahead of him. So the Senators are not doing well. There's saves. There is games pitched. There is my Cy Young candidates. That doesn't mean much yet because it just cranks out best ERA with a certain amount of wins. And 15 is the minimum, so this is just showing the 15-game winners so far. Make more sense after the season's done. Let's look at the Oakland Athletics pitching. See how Cy Young Award winner, MVP winner Vita Blue is doing. He started 21 games. He's 14-3 with a 1.05 ERA. So he's got a few less wins than Mickey Lolich, but a better ERA. So he's doing pretty good. Let's look at the standings one more time. See where the Washington Senators sit with all those losing pitchers, and there they are, last place, 35 games out of first. And that will do it. I will sign off now. That's halfway through the replay of the Tigers 1971. Hope there was some interest there. I will come back with the last game of the year and see how it turned out for the Tigers.